The world of British cars is full of mystery. From the subterranean landscapes of the Longbridge tunnels to the lost prototypes of the manufacturers of yesteryear, the history of British cars is full of interesting anomalies. But there is one mystery that has bound around for years, one story unsolved for decades, a treasure trove of unsold, brand new cars stored in an unknown location. What some would call the ultimate barn find. And with more being discovered like this brand new Montego, what else could be lying waiting to be uncovered? Back in 2013 a photo was shared online showing an absolutely magnificent find. What appears to be an entire parking area full with brand new, unused and abandoned Rover 75s, MGs and more. This appeared to fade into mystery. Another piece of classic car folklore, until now. These are the lost Rovers uncovered, their location and why there may be even more out there waiting to be found. Hello everybody and welcome to this video on one of the greatest Rover mysteries ever. If you're not subscribed already, please make sure to do so. It really does help me out and you get to see more of this, more history videos, more cars and classics uncovered and more projects. In this video we do a deep dive into 3 of the most mysterious photos ever, uncover some crazy stored classics and hopefully solve one of the greatest Rover and classic car mysteries ever. Make sure to like the video if you liked it and share if you want other people to see it. Comment below your theories on this and let me know if there's any more you'd like me to try and uncover. But without further delay, let's get into this video on what is one of the greatest Rover mysteries ever. Firstly, a bit of background. The world of abandoned cars is a bit of a grey area. From barn finds to seized cars to people just trespassing, it can all be a bit questionable. But people have been uncovering cars for decades now. With our specific case, let's look at how they got there. MG Rover in the early 2000s was searching for a partner after the Proton deal fell through. They looked to China. The bustling economy and lack of domestic car firms was perfect for MG Rover. They had the technology, China had the capital, and with that they would enter negotiations. First came China Brilliance, who experimented with Rover 75s in around 2001, with a few sent over and rebadged. This deal would fall through. Next came Nanjing Automobile Corporation. The deal would eventually collapse, and MG Rover were left to disintegrate into administration in April 2005, with thousands losing their jobs directly and indirectly, shocking an entire region. Meanwhile, thousands of cars both in the plant being built, one shipped to dealers and one-offs were left in limbo. From the ashes of nearly 100 years of car production came assets. After all, MG Rover had sold key intellectual properties to NAC before its collapse. Allegedly, assets like the Rover 75's design were sold by the firm to the Chinese company before the deal was even closed. After the firm collapsed, PricewaterhouseCoopers were appointed as the administrators of MG Rover. They would sell many assets, like the MG brand to NAC, as well as physical assets and other intellectual property. With any company's collapse and administration, it gets a bit messy, and there's much more to discuss. But there were some assets left in limbo, and that is what these photos appear to show. So, what's the story behind the photos? Back in 2013, a set of 3 images were circulated online. It appears these photos originated from a Russian website, ifun.ru. Later these would appear on a Jalopnik article in the comments, and on another Russian website around the same time. The image appears this time with a caption reading, "The British Rover 75 is gathering dust in a warehouse in China." These images would immediately spread through the web like wildfire, appearing all over the place, the 75 forum and several websites. A few would misappropriate these images as brand new Land Rovers waiting to be sold and so on. The Rover world and classic car world would at the time talk in length about where these cars could be. But then all appeared to go quiet, a few speculations about the images, but nothing else. Until now. A post was made in the Montego and Maestro owners group by a Chinese car enthusiast, who was at the time rebuilding his domestically built Austin Maestro. On his search for parts, he uncovered a brand new Rover Montego, lost to time. This car was unregistered and stored in a customs holding area in Shanghai. The photos shown here with his permission show the seat covers are still on, interior in great condition, and original Rover dealership badging and script. But sadly, it had been the victim of vandalism, with the grille removed and the front windscreen caved in. Apparently there are many more Rover Montegos stored in customs. As you can see by the background, there's many other cars as well. While this was cool enough, it got me thinking, what about those old images? Let's have a look at those. These photos show 17 Rover 75s, all Mark 1s with projector headlights and one MGTF in trophy yellow. Looking at these cars in more detail, we can date them with a few key features. The rear boot plinths are the Project Drive versions introduced in June 2001. The mirrors are bullet style as opposed to the newer style fitted after May 2002. Looking at the brochures for the Chinese market at the time, these models fit right in, with the serpent wheels and so on. It would appear these are sporting the standard configuration for that market. This would date these cars as either late 2001 to early 2002. And with the thick layer of dust, it's clear they've been there a while. The question is, does this have anything in common with the Montego? And well, it does. The porter cabin across the way looks familiar, especially the roof, and it appears the cars are underneath an expressway. Looking at the Shanghai area, there is an expressway that runs near the customs area, with several storage areas around and underneath. Looking at the photos, they have a similar background. Maybe these are stored around the same area under an expressway, but this is where we need to dive even deeper. Looking at the resolution of the photos, they are taken in VGA, so it looks like an older phone camera, probably around 2006 to 2010. That's all well and good, matching the backgrounds, but let's get the tools involved. After scanning the images through a metadata search tool and an AI image search, it appears these images were taken around the same area as the Montego mentioned earlier. Looking at the maps of the area and around it, it would appear, judging by the metadata and image search and general layout, these cars were stored near or under the S20 Outer Ring Expressway in Shanghai, and that makes sense. After all, one of the main vehicle importers is located there, so now we know the location. It appears that's one mystery solved. The question is, how did they get there? There are 3 possible cases, and let me know which you think is the most likely in the comments. The first scenario would be Brilliance, the original Chinese partner, or another, had these sent over for evaluation for their joint venture, and then it was determined these were too cost prohibitive to send back, so they were abandoned. Second is NAC bought the excess stock and had them shipped over to examine, but ran into legal issues getting them released from customs due to the situation with MG Rover back home. After all, they were rebuilding Longbridge in China, so maybe they needed a proof of concept. The third is a distributor purchased the stock from MG Rover back when they were still operating. Either MG Rover went bust before they were signed off, or the dealership did, resulting in the cars being in limbo. Maybe the duties or taxes couldn't be paid. After all, if the dealer or MG Rover stopped operating when they arrived, this could leave them in limbo, and with the enormous task PwC had to deal with, these could have easily been missed during the administration. But there is another anomaly disproving the Chinese dealer theory. All of these cars are left-hand drive, and with China driving on the right, it makes no sense that they were destined for China. Perhaps they were destined for Hong Kong instead. So this gives a bit more validity to the second theory. The final question is, are these cars still there? With the single Montego and a few others still surviving, is there still hope? Maybe. After all, 1 or 2 cars being moved around is far less difficult than 18, and with the space taken up, it's more than likely they have been destroyed. Or maybe they were released around the time the Chinese version of Longbridge started operating. But they could still be there, right now waiting to be uncovered. And with the many Montegos and other cars still roaming around Shanghai customs, this could be true. Sadly for now, this is just another layer to the mystery. There are a few Rover 75s in China. Could these be the escapees from the 18 cars, or just some unrelated models sold beforehand? But who knows? Without going to Shanghai, there is no way to tell, with the lost Rovers of Shanghai's fate remaining a mystery for now. The question is the decades-old mystery close to being solved, or will it just be another footnote in the messy story of Rover's collapse? And with that, it's the end of the video. What is your opinion on these mystery cars, and do you have any others you'd like us to investigate? Or perhaps you have more information? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you for watching, keep watching, and remember to subscribe for more of this, and I'll see you in the next one.